There you are. Good morning. There's a bunch of people. Welcome, Ukraine, South Africa, UK, Australia. Awesome. Welcome, guys. Welcome to our webinar. Look, I'm going to get straight into it. Now, we are recording this webinar. It will be a very powerful webinar because I'm going over the next 30 minutes to teach you the secret to building a multi-million-dollar business, an organization in the hundreds of thousands, and helping a lot of people create freedom over the last 9 years using exactly what I'm going to show you over the next 30 minutes. Now, if we haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name is Efrosyni. I have been with our company for 9.5 years, coming to our 10-year anniversary. I'm going to try to keep it as slow as possible, purely because I know there's translation going on at the same time. So even though I'm a fast talker, I'm going to try to slow it down a little bit, okay? And of course, this is being recorded as well, so you can actually share this with your team so they can listen to it over and over again. So to give you an idea, guys, what I've done is I've broken it down into 8 different steps. And the first step to creating duplication, and if you create duplication in your organization, you create multiplication in your team, multiplication to your paycheck. The first key thing is how you get someone started, is doing a fast start with them. And I'm going to share with you guys what should be included in this fast start, okay? Now, the first thing that I want to identify, when I'm speaking to someone new, I just helped someone get started. So a couple of simple things, get them to download the app. So I literally get them to download the app straight to their phone. Okay, this is very, very important. I show them a couple of things about the app, very simple things. Like, for example, you know, when you download the app, okay, you'll see in the app, it's just loading in now, you're going to see all the dream trips. So I show them where the dream trips are. I also show them that there's a lot of ways to have a look at the dream trips. Like on the top right, there's a filter, okay, you can see that. If I cancel that and I press on the top left, there's a map. And on the map, you can see all the different dream trips from all around the world. I will also show them where the booking engine is, okay? But one thing I always highlight to people, the booking engine is awesome. The dream trips is the secret sauce. Nobody gets emotionally attached to booking something from a booking engine. The emotional attachment, the engagement comes when they experience a dream trip. And I will talk about that a little bit later on. Now, one thing I also highlight to them is that there's a button called Rep Tools, okay? And I'll tell them, very important that they go through and they watch the first 5 videos. I'm not going to get them to watch all of them at the beginning. It's too much information. I just tell them, just watch the first 5 videos. Now, a lot of the things that are covered in the first 5 videos, I will cover in the fast start. But when you get them later on to go home and watch the first 5 videos, you're going to do 2 things. One is you're going to make them systems and tools dependent, not dependent just on you. Now, I'm not saying you push them away and try to make them independent from the first day. I'm not saying that, okay? I'm just saying you want to point them to, here's the tools, here's what we're going to do for the fast start. I'm going to tell you what to do. I will show you what to do. But repetition is the mother of all learning. Repetition is the mother of all learning. So I'm highlighting to them that, especially when they're doing a fast start for their team, everything's on the videos. So they can go through and watch this again and again and again. And that's what's going to help them to build the confidence. Now, one thing I'm doing is, as soon as I get someone started, I want to find out, what's their goal, okay? Now, sometimes people say to me, I want to make money. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Everybody wants to make money. How much money? How fast do you want to do it, okay? So what I want to identify is what their long-term goal is, but I also want to have a short-term goal. So if, for example, I had someone say to me once, I want to make $1 million in my first 12 months. Now, I'm not the kind of person that's ever going to knock anybody back. But here's what I told them. I said, listen, it's never been done before to make $1 million in your first 12 months in World Ventures. This is the first time for everything. Okay. I know people that have made $500,000 in the first 12 months. It's going to take a lot of sacrifice and things like that. Let me show you what the plan looks like. And you can tell me, is that something that's feasible for you? Or do you need to adjust your goal? Okay. Because I love it. Sometimes people say, and they give you a goal like this, but when it comes to their action is here. So if someone says to me, listen, I want to get to a full-time income. Now, of course, I understand. We have people watching this webinar from South Africa, from Eastern Europe, where the average income is $400 or $500 a month. That's very easy to get to $500 a month. That's a full-time income. But we also have people on this webinar from Australia, and the average income in Australia is about $800 to $1,000 a week, okay? So, of course, full-time income is all relative depending where you're talking. But if, let's say, someone says to me, I want to get to the point where I'm making $1,000 a month and I want to make it in the next 3 months, then I'm going to say, cool, how many hours a week can you invest in this? If they say to me 3 hours a week, I'm going to go, look, that's going to be a bit challenging. Either adjust your goal or adjust your time. I always recommend 5 to 10 hours a week is a good way to start this business, guys. Of course, if you can invest more, even better. The more you invest, the faster you go, but it comes down to your circumstances. Most people, when they start this, they're already working a full-time job. So most people, 5 to 10 hours a week, especially if they have a family, it's feasible. If someone's single, they can do 10 to 15 hours a week easily, okay? But I want to know what their goal is, how much, how fast, okay? The second thing is I want to know how hungry they are to make this happen. How hungry are they, okay? And I remember one thing that my mentor asked me when I first got started. He said, are you hungry and are you teachable? He goes, if you're hungry and teachable, I help you become unstoppable. If you're not hungry, I'm not going to create miracles. And if you're not teachable, I'm not going to talk to a brick wall. So are you hungry and are you teachable? And I ask the same questions from everybody that I work with as well, because I want to highlight to them, if I'm saying to you to invite this way, but you invite a different way, it's showing me that you're not teachable. Now I'm going to let you know, listen, if you're not teachable, I can't help you, because here's what you need to understand, guys. It doesn't matter whether you've been in the team for a day, for a week, for a month, for a year, okay? The person that sponsored you and your upline leader in this business, when you make money, they make money. Do you see that? When you make money, they're also going to make money. So of course they're going to tell you what you need to do to get results fast, because that's a win-win. And I love it sometimes when you tell someone, hey, here's how to invite, and they go, listen, I know my people. Let me do it this way. Guys, I've heard that sentence so many times in the last 9.5 years when people say to me, I know my people. Do you know what I hear? I'm going to be uncoachable. I step back a little bit, okay? And here's what I tell them. Your way is your way. My way is the system's way. It's not Efrosyni's way. It's the system's way. Don't you think that if there was a way to create better results, that the people that have made tens of millions from World Ventures, the people that created World Ventures to a multi-billion-dollar company, don't you reckon if there was a better way they would have taught us? I'm just saying, okay? Now, I'm not being rude about it, okay? I'm just being very upfront with people. So I want to highlight how serious they are, okay? And that's determined by what they're willing to give up. I remember when I was chatting to Dovila when she first got started, and I was asking her this question in terms of how serious are you to making it to the kind of income, because she wanted to spend more time with her kids. Now, she said to me, look, you know, my gym is something that I never sacrifice, but I'm willing to sacrifice my gym for a season to make this happen. So I didn't ask her that. It's what she offered to do because she was serious about it. And when people are offering to make sacrifices, that's when I know that they're hungry, okay? So some people sacrifice, you know, they might love dancing. They might, you know, have a hobby or something like that. Guys, you're only going to need to make certain sacrifices for a season, okay? So one thing that I want to find out from people is what are they willing to sacrifice? I personally sacrificed sleep when I first got started every Saturday morning. So it's symbolic that I'm doing the webinar at 9 a.m. in London every Saturday morning, because actually this was the time that I'd be doing presentations. Now, some of you would be thinking, who the heck would come to a presentation to someone's house at 9 o'clock in the morning? Well, depends on whether you invite with the right level of urgency that I was doing, okay? And I'll share that later on. So every morning, Saturday morning, the new week starts on a Saturday morning. Yesterday, we started a new month as well. So your lifestyle bonus resets, opportunity to create a new check, okay? And from 9 till 12 was my World Ventures time. You know, literally, I would aim at showing 10 people over those 3 hours. That was my goal. And the reason that was 10 people is because my mentor said to me, if you want to grow, show one person a day and push to show 30 in your first 30 days. And on average, you'll sign up about 10, so 30% on average. Now, some people sign up a lot more, some people sign up less, okay? But on average, you sign up 10, and usually 2 or 3 are going to be serious, okay? Those are the kind of numbers. So I know I couldn't show one a day because I was working 18 hours a day, 14, 16, 14 hours was my minimum work day, to give you an idea, but usually 16 or 18, plus commuting back and forth from work was about 2 hours. So I didn't have a lot of time during the week. So I said, in order for me to show 30 in 30 days, I need to show 10 minimum every single week. And I was doing that on a Saturday morning. Now, when you're doing a game plan, okay, when you're doing a game plan, essentially what you want to do is that you want to pull someone's diary. So you want to sit there and look at each other's diary and go, okay, tell me this week what times, dates you're available, and let's work towards filling up those time slots in order to schedule what we call 2-on-1s and, of course, travel parties. Now, 2-on-1s is when you, as a sponsor, accompany your member and their guest to do a presentation. You do the presentation for them at the beginning. Very important that they edify you, okay? And I will talk a little bit about edification, because edification is the key thing in our business. If you're not edified, you're just a salesperson, guys. Now, something completely separate. I've got a very good friend of mine who represents 2 of the biggest speakers here in the UK. They wanted to do they wanted to link arms with Les Brown. Les Brown is an amazing speaker. I am pretty much very closely connected to Les Brown. So for me, it was one telephone call. Couldn't get a hold of my best friend, who's their promoter. So I called up those speakers direct and I introduced myself and I said, look, I'm Efrosyni. James is one of my best friends. He knows I'm connected to Les. So he asked me to make this phone call. Can you just kind of like give me a paragraph of the kind of things you want me to say about you guys? Now, edification is so important in any business. This was just a favor I was doing for a friend. The response I got was, look, we don't deal with that sort of thing. You're going to have to speak to James direct. He's the best person to speak to in terms of that. We get so many of these phone calls on a daily basis, but James is your point of contact. I got off that phone call and I'm like, man, it's been a while since I felt like a salesperson. It's like his energy towards me is that as if I was trying to sell him something, and all I was doing them a favor because their promoter is one of my best friends. It was actually my mentee a while ago. I mentored him, and now he's gone on to do some really, really big things. So I'm like, so I called up James and I was like, James, this and this happened. He was in Melbourne at the time and I couldn't get a hold of you, which is the reason I was making the phone call. And he's like, oh man, I'm sorry, Efrosyni. He said, I never got a chance to tell them who you are. So he actually did a Facebook introduction. And he said, look, Efrosyni was my first mentor. She's very, very successful, in the network marketing industry. In fact, she's built an organization of close to 300,000 people from around the world. And I asked her for a favor, and that's why she was getting in touch with you. By the way, this is my client. Hey, let's get together for lunch. Automatically, straight away, I get a response from his client kind of going, man, I'm so sorry. I just thought that you were someone that was just trying to sell me something. I really apologize. No hard feelings. Yes, when should we do lunch? Guys, this is not even World Ventures related, but I want you to understand this is the power of edification, okay? Edification, you can use it in every single area. So when you use it in our business, the difference is that instead of you being seen as the salesperson to the guest, you're seen as an expert. And when you're an expert and someone edifies you, that means they say something powerful but accurate about you. Don't do hype, okay? Like it's really annoying when you hear people go, oh, they're the best. And then all of a sudden they introduce someone else and they go, they're the best. And if someone's seen you do that 2 or 3 times, they're going to go, okay, you just hype too much. They're all the best, okay? So just say something accurate and powerful. If I was edifying Justina, for example, Justina's an amazing leader. In fact, it's because of her that I was literally in Eastern Europe for about a year. She's built an organization of a couple of thousand in the last less than 2 years. And what I love about this woman is that not only is she a powerful, dynamic leader, she's also a great mom. She's an amazing person with a huge heart. And she's someone that will make huge sacrifices for her team. Now, I didn't say she's the best in the world, she's this. Everything I said about Justina was powerful but accurate. No exaggeration, no hype, okay? Now, I will also turn around and edify my guest. And I'll go, hey, Justina, meet Steven. Steven's a go-getter. He's the kind of guy that if he puts his mind to something, he can make some big things happen. So I'm excited that he's going to see what we're getting ready to do. Do you see what I mean? I didn't pick him up. I just said a couple of things that were accurate. Now, from the moment you edify your expert and your guest, zip, okay? Don't say anything, don't speak unless you're spoken to. Because once you start speaking over your expert, you're taking power away from them, okay? And your expert is there to help you create results, okay? So, to doing 2-on-1s, okay, edification, that's the key, all right? But anyway, you can get in front of as many people as possible, we do it. So there's also Zoom presentations. So if you have friends in other countries, guys, Zoom is a great way to show people in other countries. But the main thing I would focus on is how fast you can show people physically, like in your area, okay? Because the high touch is always going to be a lot more powerful. So going on to the list, okay? So I'm going to help them to put together a list. This is very, very important. Now, I usually start with a list of 21. Ideally, top 30 is great. But I tell them, look, this list is just the beginning. It's not the end. So when you go home afterwards, you're going to realize that you're going to start thinking of more and more people that you can add on this list. Now, who should be on this top 30? Let me ask you. Answer in the chat. Okay, I want to hear from you guys. Who do you believe they should put on their top 30 list? I'm just curious to see what you guys have to say. The hot ones, yep. Bravo, Talia. Closest friends and family, yep. Hot friends and family. People with previous experience in the industry. Those who have already have your trust. Okay. All right. Interesting. So guys, yes, absolutely. Those who have your trust, I would start with those. Okay. Those that you're closest to, your hot ones, is who, if you have a look, okay, at the recent calls that you make, who are the most common people that you call on a regular basis? Those are your hot ones, your best friends, the ones that if you were in trouble, who would you call? Okay, if you were in trouble, who would you call? You know, if let's say you got engaged and you wanted to share with someone, who's the first 5 people you would call to tell them, hey, I got engaged, hey, you know, I'm pregnant, or whatever? Okay, so that's who I would start with first, the hot ones. Now, if they've had experience in the industry, sometimes it's a good thing, guys. Sometimes it's a bad thing. I'll tell you why. I always prefer working with people that have never had experience in the industry. I'll tell you why. Because they're coming with a fresh mindset, and they don't bring the ego sometimes that they know what they're doing, okay? Because they might not necessarily know what they're doing. They might not know what they're doing and what worked in their company, but most companies are product-based companies. We're more like a service-based, and we're experiential. So what can work with one product doesn't necessarily work the same way with another product. That's one thing. Now, if they have previous experience in the industry, the one thing I do like about that is that they also understand that in order to build something significant, it's going to take time, energy, and sacrifice. So they come in with the mindset that they know they're going to have to put in some work to it, okay? Now, of course, if they're hungry, even better, but sometimes you don't know how hungry people are until you show them, okay? Maybe they're hungry, maybe they lost their way, they don't look like they're hungry in life, but then all of a sudden they see a vehicle and something clicks inside of them, and you see a work ethic from them that you didn't think was possible, okay? So at the end of the day, your top 30, start with your hot, closest friends, family, okay, because you have trust with them. Then you can go on to the rest of the people. Now, before you start showing presentations, okay, it's important to get equipped. Now, if you don't have advantage, my biggest piece of advice, get advantage as soon as possible, okay? Go into your back office. You have 2 back offices, okay? worldventures.biz. When you log in, if you click on legacy back office, your old back office, I want to show you something, okay? If you click on your legacy back office, I'm going to take you here. Okay. All right, so I'm in my old back office now, okay? As you can see, it says here, World Ventures, My Account, Marketing Tools, etc. When you click under Marketing Tools, okay? When you click under Marketing Tools, Business Presentations, I'll take you to this section here. Now, a lot of these are a little bit outdated because you know we have the new back office, okay? But a couple of things that are really, really powerful here. When you scroll down, there's a section that says your drive home audio, okay? I get people to listen to this. Now, here's where you have to exercise a little bit of common sense, guys. If someone is super, super busy, you've just signed them up and they said to you, hey, look, Efrosyni, I can only do 3-4 hours a week. I'm not going to give them all this information, okay? All I want them to do is to set up some appointments, book the next training, okay, and watch the quick coach videos on the rep tools, right? I will do the fast start with them, and all I want them to do is to help them to get fast results, okay? But a really good audio to listen to, your drive home audio, they can actually listen to straight from the website, or they can download. I usually download it for them, put it in Dropbox, and I send them the Dropbox link, okay? So I want them to start working and preparing their mind. So this is all in here. Now, if you go up on the top where it says events training, see World Ventures Advantage, That's World Ventures Advantage there, okay? So you click on that, and then you'll be able to sign up for World Ventures Advantage. World Ventures Advantage, guys, is this is the best of the best audios and videos from the company over the last 13 years the company's been around. There's so many audios and videos, so many of them, okay? If you, let's say you want to master inviting, click, there's a search button where you can write inviting, and it will give you 20 different videos and audios on how to be a master inviter. This is one way that I train my team, because I can sit there and spend half an hour on the phone with someone, training them on closing, or I can get them to listen to the audios of closing and then go, let's put 10 people in front of me very, very fast. Watch what I do. Audios on the job training. Audios on the job training. Do you see what I mean? I don't want to spend half an hour training someone on things that they can listen to an audio from. I always prefer doing on-the-job training, which means showing them how things are done. And I will talk about, tell, show, watch, go. I'll talk about that towards the end, because that's the key to creating the duplication. Everything that I'm doing with my team from the beginning, I want to make sure that it's duplicatable. So I know it sounds boring, but you have to be very consistent on how you invite, very consistent how you present, very consistent how you do a game plan with your team. Because if you change it up every time, it's going to be very hard for them to duplicate, okay? So you have to keep it consistent. I'll say a lot of the same things. And I know some of you are like, yeah, but that's boring, Efrosyni. Yeah, you might feel like you're getting bored because you're saying the same things. But the thing is, the person that's watching it is watching it for the first time, okay? Same when you're doing a travel party presentation. If you see my travel party presentations, if you see my Zoom calls, literally say pretty much the same thing. The only thing that I change is the stories. I'll share 2 or 3 new stories, just to kind of mix it up a little bit. Testimonials, people that have had a lot of success in our organization. And we just helped create the 31st first-time millionaire last week. First IMD in Greece. 22 years old, 21 when he got started, Georgia Logariastos, just hit IMD. If you're watching this from the UK right now and you haven't booked the Super Saturday training next weekend with Georgia Logariastos, get booked. This guy is on fire. Number 31, IMDs in our team. Guys, my vision is to create 1,000. I am telling you, we're just getting started. And it all comes down to keeping things basic and consistent. So get booked for the Advantage. You can get the light version at $6 per month. You just get some of the audios. Or you can get the platinum version, the full version, for $20 a month, okay? If you empty your wallet into your mind will fill your wallet. The best investment you can always make is in your own mind. So last thing is, where are the next events that you can get them booked for? Now, if you're watching this from South Africa, guys, you have momentum coming up. 22nd of February, your main trainers, you guys are so lucky. Eric G and Stavros Zinonos, I believe, are 2 of the best trainers that World Ventures has to offer. Eric G used to sell real estate for a living. Already hugely successful, no time. Stavros Zinonos used to sell BMWs for a living. The 2 of them together, powerhouses. Eric G is a double IMD $1 million ring earner. Stavros Zinonos, $1 million ring earner. He's an IMD. He's getting close to double IMD right now. 2 phenomenal trainers alongside Mark Casetta. If you're not booked for Momentum in South Africa, get booked. End of March, Dr. Wu, $1 million ring earner from Asia, literally one of the top 3 income earners in all of Asia. Used to be a dentist by profession. And that's happening end of March in Melbourne, okay? Europe, I'm sorry, your Momentum is sold out. You guys are too good at promoting. We sold it out with 5,000 people. Now, I personally have some extra tickets. I bought a bunch of them. I have some extra tickets. I'm not making any promises because I've got new teams that I'm building. And I know Jamaica, you're watching the recording of this. So Jamaica, you just had your momentum. The key thing is united. So that's what I'm doing. I'm promoting the next event to my team. And I'm only going to work very closely with the ones that are getting booked for the next event because I know they're serious. Now, the last 2 steps is on the job training. So I've done the game plan. We've done the list. Okay. I've asked their commitment, things like that. What are they willing to sacrifice? And I got them booked for the next event. This is very, very important. Now, you've also got your Super Saturdays next weekend. We'll talk about that in a bit. So what I want to do right now is essentially I want to get busy and I want to do BAM FAM. That means book a meeting from a meeting, okay? Sometimes this may not always be possible, but this is what you want to push for, guys, okay? If I got someone started now, before they leave, I want them to book at least 1, 2, 3 appointments of people we can show straight away. The quicker you can help them get results, the better that it's going to be, okay? So I will teach them about inviting. Now, my personal favorite way of inviting with your hot market, and that's why we want to go for hot first because they trust you, is let's say, for example, Stefania is one of my best friends. I'll be like, hey, Stefania, listen, are you home right now? It's important. If she says yes, great. Listen, great, I'm coming over. I'm bringing my new business partner. I got something super exciting to share with you. I'll see you in 15 minutes. So I'm not literally sitting there and telling her anything. I want the presentation to do the work. All I want to do is I want to clear the time that I can show her. And if I can show her straight away, boom, okay? Focus board, I'm not going to go too much into. This is for the serious people. It's more consistent. But the first thing I want to do is focus on helping the person build their first story. Now, if you want to go fast, the magic number 6, okay, is help them get 6 fast. With the promotion we have right now, guys, $149 for them to get started, it is ridiculous, okay? 6, they got the $200 Rising Star bonus. They're only going to get that if they do 6 in the first 8 weeks, okay? After the first 8 weeks, they don't get the Rising Star bonus. So 6 gets them a $200 check. 6 also gets them $20 direct commissions. So that's $320 US. Now, if you just spend $150 and I can show you how to make double your money that you just spent in your first 24 hours, wouldn't that be cool? What if it's in your first 48 hours, 72 hours? How quick we do it comes down to you. It comes down to how quick you can put your contacts in front of me. This is what I say to them. All I want you to do at the beginning, to be a master in this, you're going to learn 4 skills. How to invite, how to present, how to close, and how to get people to training and training them, okay? 4 skills you need to learn, but tell you what, in the first 30 days we're going to work together. You're only going to do 1, which is you're just going to be a master inviter. You invite, I do the rest, you get paid, okay? You invite, I do the rest, you get paid. Very, very simple. So I just want them to focus on that one thing right now, okay? So it's how quick they can get people in front of you. Now, I want them to be plugged into the system, guys. If you have trainings, regionals, travel parties in your area, very important to give them what the schedule is for the next 7 days, okay? If you don't have regional Super Saturdays in your areas, no problem to schedule 2-on-1s, okay? But I know right now in Eastern Europe, we have Super Saturday next weekend with an amazing, amazing lady, National Marketing Director, Anya. Anya, to give you an idea, she's the upline of pretty much all of Russia, which is rocking right now. They built a team of almost 20,000 in the last 2.5 years, okay? They're growing super, super fast. They popped their first 2 IMDs. I know Anya is very close to hitting IMD as well. She's in Eastern Europe, okay? next weekend. Georgia Logargestos is in London next weekend. Okay, and of course, South Africa, you guys have momentum, and same with Australia. So the system is get them on a training, get them on a dream trip, okay? Get them on a training, get them on a dream trip, and take lots of action in between to help them increase the numbers. Now, the last piece of the puzzle, okay? Duplication is all about tell, show, watch, go. What do I mean by that? First, if I'm working with someone new, let's say I'm working with Marina. I say to Marina, look, Marina, I'm going to do a bunch of presentations with you. Watch what I do, because I'm telling you, by the time that you see me do a bunch of presentations, you'll realize, man, Efrosyni is not that smart. I can do that. And you'll be doing presentations before you know it, okay? So this is how we do a presentation. I tell them, okay? So I'll talk about the 3-step setup. There's a video in Quick Coach. I'll talk to them a little bit about closing, not straight away, but I love using the video to present, guys, if I'm doing 2-on-1s. I use slides on a bigger presentation, 2-on-1s, video. It's all about, keeping it simple. So I tell her what we're going to do. Then I show her. So I'm doing the presentation. Marina's watching the presentation with her guest. She watches everything that I do. If you even get them to take notes while you're talking, even better, okay? Because it literally gets them to remember better, right? And once I've done a few presentations, I'm going to watch her do the presentation. Very important. Even if she does a great presentation, if she doesn't close effectively, now I don't want her to be as good as me, guys. I'm not looking for people to be as good as me, okay? And all I'm looking for is that if she does 80% of the stuff correct, boom, then you can let them go. Now, I'm not going to let them go completely and forget about them, okay? I'm always there to a certain degree. And I love doing what we call blitzes, because a blitzes is, let's say, for example, tomorrow we're going to be in London, in Victoria. We're doing a blitz. I've got about 8 people that I'm working with right now here in London, and they're going to be doing presentations, and I'm literally going to go from table to table, and sometimes I'll be doing a presentation here, and while someone's watching the video, I'll be listening to someone from my team doing their presentation. So it keeps me close to them to hear, if they're doing the things correct, bomba, they become independent, okay? So one thing that I always say to them, okay, is you've got this. I remember Natalia's in Poland right now. I remember the first time that Natalia did her first presentation, and she's like, oh my God, you want me to present now? And Natalia will probably remember she was very, very nervous. Now she's an awesome presenter. She's a great presenter. She does so many presentations for her team. She does travel parties. In fact, she's going to be doing her first little segment of the training at the Super Saturday, but every single leader, when they first got started, they were nervous. They didn't know what to say. They got a little bit nervous, and it's okay. You're not looking for perfection. You're looking for someone that's going to get it done. Now, this is the last step. This is duplication. Duplication is becoming insignificant to your team's success. How do you know whether you got good duplication? Well, if you're away for a week, and I don't recommend doing this right at the beginning, but work with people for a little bit, see who's actually going to step up, see who starts presenting, see who starts closing, and then also watch what your team is doing when you're not right on top of them. If your team is not producing very effectively when you're not there, it means you have developed followers and not leaders. Leaders are the ones that are going to do this with or without you guys, okay? Now, they're few and far in between, okay? 10% of the population may be leaders. 3% are like the top leaders, okay? And I can literally, my whole organization of 300,000, I can probably put it down to 99% of my team came because of like 6 or 7 key individuals. Kid you not, 6 or 7 key individuals, right? Now, how do you develop someone as a leader? Occasionally, you gotta let them fall down and see whether they have what it takes to get back up. Occasionally, you gotta let them fall down and see whether they have what it takes to get back up. If you're there to pick them up every time they fall down, they're gonna look up and wait for you to pick them up again, okay? You don't have a leader, then you have a follower. Look at who takes a punch sometimes in your team, and instead of dropping and feeling sorry for themselves, you know what they do? They come back and they're ready to fight even harder. That's when you know you've got yourself a leader. So the key thing is, and I'm going to give you the one last thing before we wrap things up. The key thing is getting people to the events is awesome, guys. Okay, if you're a great promoter, amazing. But teaching people how to become great promoters, this is the magic right there. Now, to give you an idea, right now we have a momentum coming up. If you haven't booked momentum, the first thing you got to do is get booked. You cannot promote something unless you're booked yourself. Now, if you notice when I was talking about momentum before, I didn't say, hey, look, we have a training. It's important for you to go, okay? I edified the trainers. I told you who they are. Now, let me tell you something else, okay? I remember the first training that I got to meet Stavros Zinonos. Stavros Zinonos has probably contributed about 120,000 people to our team, okay? Amazing leader. I believe he's one of the best that we have. The first training that he went to, his mentor at the time pushed him and he didn't want to go. He went to his first training. When he went to his first training, this is the point that he made the decision. And literally he said, by United, okay, by United, okay, he was going to be an IMD. United was a few months away. He became an IMD by United. He did whatever it took. If he wasn't at that training, he wouldn't have made that decision. He wouldn't have hit IMD. He wouldn't be $1 million ring earner. And now tens of thousands of people in our organization wouldn't be here if he hadn't been pushed by his mentor to be at the first event. And the reason he's a great trainer and the reason he's a great promoter is because his mentor didn't buy his excuses. Now, to give you an idea, his mentor's mentor is me. And I remember when I was talking to his mentor and I pushed him to come to his first event. And he told me he was ex-Army. He goes, I know what to do, Efrosyni. I'm ex-Army, I'm military, I'm already very successful in the Army. What are they going to teach me that I don't already know? And I said to him, do you trust me? He said, of course I do. I said, great. Go to your first training. And if you feel that you got no value, I'll give you your money back. He went to his first training. By Saturday lunchtime, he was calling his team going, you have got to come to this training. So originally the first training he went to, there was like 3 of them at the training. The next day on Sunday, he had 15 people from his team come to the training because he got the value. Now that guy, to give you an idea, is a double IMD and $1 million ring earner in my organization. And he's one of the best promoters. If I didn't push him, he wouldn't have pushed Stavros, who wouldn't have pushed so many other leaders. And that's why we have a big organization. So guys, get booked for the next training. Okay, thank you for being on this webinar. I will post the recording later on. Share this with your team, okay? And I look forward to seeing you guys all at Momentum very, very soon.
Quiere remedio pa' tu dolor. Como ella lo mueve sin parar, las ganas de comerte ahora.